The rivalry between Damon Hill and Max Verstappen has flared up once again, with the 1996 world champion launching a fresh attack on the Dutchman. Hill has accused Verstappen of racing like a boxer in an F1 car, implying that the Red Bull driver aggressively fights his rivals on track rather than racing cleanly. Meanwhile, McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown has made a bold prediction about Verstappen's future. Brown firmly believes that the reigning world champion will say goodbye to Red Bull and join Mercedes after the 2025 season. On the Ferrari front, fresh concerns have emerged after the team uncovered a serious issue in the SF5 simulator, which may have played a key role in Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc's disastrous Australian Grand Prix. Let's discuss, and stay tuned until the end. Damon Hill, the 1996 Formula One world champion, has once again taken aim at Max Verstappen, accusing the Dutchman of an overly aggressive driving style and suggesting that he competes with his fists rather than his mind. Hill's latest comments continue a long-standing feud between the two, which has seen the British racing legend repeatedly criticize Verstappen's on-track conduct. Hill, who was a vocal critic of Verstappen during the 2024 F1 season, often expressed concerns over the Red Bull driver's aggressive maneuvers, particularly in battles with McLaren's Lando Norris. The two drivers clashed multiple times throughout the campaign, with tensions reaching a boiling point at the 2024 Mexican Grand Prix, where an incident between Verstappen and Norris sparked widespread debate. At the time, Hill likened Verstappen to Dick Dastardly, the infamous cartoon villain from Wacky Races, known for his underhanded tactics and relentless pursuit of victory. Now, months after stepping down from his role as a Sky Sports F1 pundit at the end of 2024, Hill has reignited the debate, doubling down on his criticisms of Verstappen's racing ethics. Speaking candidly, the 64-year-old suggested that the reigning world champion would not tolerate his own aggressive style if used against him. He'd cry like a baby if someone raced him the way he races others. Furthermore, Hill took aim at Red Bull, accusing the team of granting Verstappen carte blanche on track and shielding him from the consequences of what he perceives as rule-bending tactics. According to Hill, Verstappen often disregards the unwritten code of conduct between drivers, knowing that his team will stand firmly behind him. Despite his criticisms, Hill was quick to clarify that his remarks were not born out of personal bias against Verstappen. "I'm not anti-Max. This is the point. I think Max is brilliant. I like him. What's not to like? He's sensational," Hill added, acknowledging Verstappen's undeniable talent while maintaining his stance on the Dutchman's aggressive approach. Hill's latest comments come in response to recent praise for Verstappen from another F1 legend, Alain Prost. The four-time world champion compared Verstappen to the late Niki Lauda, drawing parallels between their direct, no-nonsense attitudes. Prost, who famously partnered Lauda during the thrilling 1984 F1 season at McLaren, noted that Verstappen's straight-talking nature reminds him of his former teammate. "A great champion. He has shown that he is the best, so being equal for titles with someone like him doesn't bother me. In fact, I am sure that he can surpass me, and that he will certainly do so in the coming years." While Prost avoided direct comparisons between different F1 eras, he was clear in his belief that Verstappen shares Lauda's forthright approach to racing and communication. If you asked Lauda anything, the answer was always honest. "Verstappen is a very engaging man, he says what he thinks. About the rest, I cannot judge." Hill, however, was quick to challenge the comparison, arguing that there is a fundamental difference between Verstappen and Lauda. Responding to Prost's comments on social media, Hill quipped, "I agree with Prost's comments. He never misses a beat. But Lauda drove with his mind, not his fists." With Verstappen now a four-time world champion and looking set to dominate for years to come, such debates are unlikely to fade anytime soon. As long as he continues to push the limits on track, Verstappen will remain a polarizing figure, hailed by some as an uncompromising racer and criticized by others for stepping beyond the bounds of fair competition. McLaren Racing CEO Zak Brown has made a bold prediction that could shake up the Formula One landscape, suggesting that reigning world champion Max Verstappen will part ways with Red Bull at the end of the 2025 season and make a sensational switch to Mercedes. Verstappen is currently chasing a historic fifth consecutive world championship in 2025, aiming to further cement his legacy with Red Bull. However, the early signs this season suggest the competition is catching up. McLaren's stunning pace in qualifying at the Australian Grand Prix and Lando Norris' hard-fought victory over Verstappen in a rain-affected race have raised questions about Red Bull's dominance. Verstappen himself admitted that the RB21 still lacks the outright speed to guarantee victories, particularly with the upcoming Chinese Grand Prix on the horizon. Reflecting on his second-place finish in Australia, Verstappen acknowledged that Red Bull has work to do. "I think it's good compared to the teams behind us, but if you look at the first stint, we were quite a bit off. As soon as the tires started to overheat, we had no chance. McLaren just took off. So we still have a lot of work to do to fight for a win. But yeah, I'm happy that we are second here. It's basically one place better than we should have been. And it's 18 more points than I had last year at this race." Despite his recent struggles, Verstappen has been the dominant force in the sport since the introduction of the ground effect regulations in 2022. However, cracks in Red Bull's invincibility began to show last season, with Verstappen enduring a 10-race winless streak at one point. Speculation about his future intensified, fueled by revelations from Red Bull's senior advisor Helmut Marko and team principal Christian Horner that Verstappen's contract contains a performance-related exit clause. Mercedes and Aston Martin have been widely tipped as potential landing spots for the Dutch superstar, and Brown is confident that Mercedes will emerge victorious in the battle for his signature. "Oh, I think he'll leave at the end of this year, most likely to Merc." There's been talk of Aston Martin, too, with Adrian Newey joining. But as great as Adrian is, and he's the greatest ever, you need a whole team around you. You need the culture. That takes time. If I was betting, I'd bet on Merc. In the last 10 years, they've won the championship 7 or 8 times. Last year they won 5 races. They have stability. We know Toto likes him. And I think we all feel Mercedes' high-performance powertrains is best equipped on the power unit side heading into the new engine regulations next year. Plus, Russell is out of contract at the end of this season and Antonelli will be on a series of one-year deals. With Formula 1 undergoing significant regulation changes in 2026, including a new engine formula featuring a 50-50th split between electrical power and internal combustion engines, the competitive landscape could shift dramatically. Aston Martin presents an intriguing option for Verstappen, given its impending engine partnership with Honda, the manufacturer that powered him to all his world championships, and the reported recruitment of legendary designer Adrian Newey. Ferrari has identified a serious issue with the SF5 simulator that contributed to Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc's disappointing performances at the Australian Grand Prix last weekend. The Scuderia endured a tough opening race of the F1 2025 season in Melbourne, with Leclerc finishing 8th and Hamilton 10th in a rain-affected contest. Their struggles followed a lackluster qualifying session, where the Ferrari duo could only manage 7th and 8th on the grid, falling behind Yuki Tsunoda's Racing Bull and Alex Albon's Williams. Ferrari had initially shown promise at Albert Park, with Leclerc setting the fastest time in FP2 on Friday, ahead of home hero Oscar Piastri and eventual race winner Lando Norris. However, while McLaren locked out the front row and went on to take victory, Ferrari's pace evaporated as the weekend progressed. Norris' triumph propelled him to the top of the Drivers' Championship for the first time in his career, dethroning Max Verstappen, who had held the lead for nearly 3 years. Meanwhile, Ferrari was left scrambling for answers regarding their sudden drop in performance. A report from media has shed light on the root of Ferrari's struggles. The team reportedly relied on a flawed simulator setup in preparation for Melbourne, leading to a crucial miscalculation in the SF25's ride height. During Friday's practice sessions, the car was running too close to the ground, causing excessive wear to the skid blocks, a factor that can lead to disqualification. To avoid this risk, Ferrari raised the ride height for Saturday and Sunday, but in doing so, compromised the car's aerodynamic efficiency. The SF5 was designed with an aggressive aerodynamic map to maximize downforce under F1's current ground effect regulations, making the increased ride height particularly detrimental to performance. This issue is particularly concerning for Ferrari, as teams must balance a low ride height for optimal performance without excessive skid block wear or triggering porpoising.